They framed the wrong employee. Then their entire company collapsed. Most people quit bad jobs quietly, maybe leave an angry review online, complain to friends, then move on with life. This guy accidentally destroyed an entire restaurant management team, triggered an FBI investigation, and caused multiple people to lose their jobs, marriages, and even their residency status. All because two managers tried framing him for stealing food. At the time, he was living in Chicago, working at a large upscale restaurant owned by a major corporate chain. And according to him, he wasn't one of those employees who just showed up and coasted through shifts. He learned everything: hosting, carry-out, bartending, deliveries, catering, banquets. Basically every position they would let him touch, because his entire goal was to become too useful to replace. And honestly, it worked. Over time, management started relying on him constantly, especially in one specific department involving catering, deliveries, and carry-out orders. Eventually, he became the unofficial supervisor of that section, not officially promoted, just quietly expected to handle everything. Scheduling help, training workers, fixing mistakes, covering shifts, solving problems. Meanwhile, the actual managers mostly left him alone because the department ran smoothly under him. Then corporate replaced the restaurant's general manager. And according to employees, the new guy immediately felt off. His name was Harvey, and before he even officially started, workers Googled him. The first thing that came up wasn't awards or business achievements. It was a mugshot. Domestic violence charges, which honestly should have been a warning sign for everybody. Not long after Harvey arrived, one of the restaurant's best managers quit immediately. And before leaving, she warned everyone. According to her, Harvey was sexist, manipulative, creepy toward female staff, and would eventually destroy the restaurant. At first, people thought maybe she was exaggerating. Turns out, she was underselling it. Harvey slowly replaced management with people loyal to him. One of those managers was a guy named Frito, and according to the storyteller, Frito was basically a professional suck-up, the kind of guy who instantly changed personalities depending on who had power. Now, because the storyteller's department didn't technically have a manager, Frito slowly inserted himself into supervising them. The problem? He had absolutely no idea how the department actually worked. He kept trying to cut hours constantly to make labor numbers look better, which sounds good on paper until you realize somebody still has to actually do the work. So every night, employees ended up drowning in unfinished tasks. And because the storyteller was the unofficial leader of the department, workers kept coming to him for help, which slowly created tension between him and management, especially after a big meeting where employees were encouraged to speak honestly about workplace issues. Huge mistake. During the meeting, multiple employees openly praised the storyteller and suggested he should officially become department manager. And according to him, the second that happened, he saw Harvey and Frito exchange a look. The kind of look that says, yeah, this guy needs to go. After that meeting, management started targeting him constantly. They'd force impossible workloads on him, cut support staff early, then punish him when tasks weren't finished on time. One night, they sent home nearly the entire department after a massive catering event, meaning he had to clean everything alone. He stayed late trying to finish everything properly, then management wrote him up for working overtime. Which honestly tells you everything you need to know about these people. At that point, he realized they weren't just frustrated with him anymore. They were actively trying to get rid of him. Then came the setup. One day before his shift, he was sitting in the restaurant eating lunch. A line cook approached him, holding one of his favorite appetizers. According to the cook, the order had been canceled, and management said somebody could take it for free. Pretty normal restaurant stuff, honestly. Canceled food gets eaten all the time. So he accepted it without thinking twice. A few minutes later, Harvey and Frito walked directly up to his table, then asked him where his receipt for the food was. Immediately, he knew something was wrong. He explained exactly what happened. That the cook gave him the food, and said management approved it. Frito instantly denied everything, pretended he had no idea what he was talking about. Then Harvey accused him of theft on the spot, and just like that, he was fired. Now, honestly, most people probably would have exploded right there. Screaming, arguing, threatening lawsuits. Instead, he stayed calm, and weirdly enough, that calmness is what destroyed them later. Before leaving, he secretly started recording audio on his phone. At first, it was mostly instinct. Something just felt off about the whole situation. Then, while waiting near the accounting office, he overheard Harvey and Frito talking privately. And on the recording, they basically admitted the setup worked exactly as planned. That was the moment. Everything became nuclear. He quietly left the restaurant, found another job almost immediately, and honestly assumed the whole thing was over. Except during an interview for his new job. The hiring manager casually mentioned that Harvey accused him of theft during the reference check. So he played the recording, and according to him, the manager's face completely changed while listening, because suddenly it was obvious he'd been framed. The new boss hired him immediately and secretly forwarded the recording to corporate lawyers. And honestly, that single recording basically lit the fuse on a bomb. Corporate launched an investigation into the restaurant. Employees started quitting during interviews with auditors. Managers started turning on each other. Secrets started spilling everywhere. Then things somehow got even worse. Harvey and Frito started publicly fighting online, and during the arguments, they accidentally exposed each other's scandals. Cheating accusations, sexual harassment, managers sleeping with staff, everything started coming out. Then auditors discovered that Frito had apparently been helping undocumented workers get fake IDs and social security documents. At that point, local police and eventually the FBI got involved. And from there, the entire thing completely collapsed. Managers got fired, employees got deported, marriages ended, entire departments got wiped out, all because two managers tried framing the wrong employee over free food. And honestly, that's what makes this story incredible. The guy never even tried getting revenge himself. He simply protected himself, kept evidence, and let corrupt people destroy themselves the second someone finally looked closely enough. And, in the end, one tiny recording was enough to bring the entire house down.
The school bully finally picked the wrong fight. Most people think bullying ends with detention, a suspension, or maybe a fight after school. This story ended with one student needing reconstructive surgery, and an entire school realizing they ignored the problem for way too long. The guy telling the story was a high school basketball player, quiet kid, kept mostly to himself. Good grades, serious about sports. And according to him, everything changed after people at school found out he was gay. At first, it was mostly whispers, jokes behind his back, people laughing when he walked by, but eventually one teammate took things way further than everyone else. This guy was basically the stereotypical high school bully. Big ego, loud mouth, constantly trying to impress people. And once he realized the attention he got from bullying was making people laugh, he completely ran with it, according to the storyteller. The insults became nonstop. Slurs during practice, comments in the locker room, purposely bumping into him in hallways, making fake kissing noises whenever he walked near people. And honestly, what made it worse was that most people around them didn't really stop it. Some laughed, Some ignored it. Coaches mostly treated it like boys being boys. Meanwhile, the storyteller kept trying to avoid problems, because according to him, he already knew how these situations usually go in school. The second the bullied kid finally reacts, suddenly that becomes the real problem. So for months, he stayed quiet, even though the bullying kept escalating. At one point, the teammate apparently shoved him into lockers. Hard enough to leave bruises. Another time, the guy dumped a sports drink over his gym bag in front of other students. And according to the storyteller, the bully especially loved humiliating him in front of girls, like proving he was above him somehow. Then eventually, the bully started openly threatening him, talking about teaching him a lesson, saying he'd beat him up if he ever acted weird around him. Now here's the important part. The storyteller wasn't weak. He'd grown up rough, had older cousins who boxed, and according to him, he already knew how to fight. He simply kept choosing not to. But after months of humiliation, he finally reached a point where he knew a fight was eventually coming no matter what. And once he realized that, his entire mindset changed. Instead of hoping it would stop, he quietly started preparing for it. Working out harder, practicing punches, mentally replaying situations in his head, not because he wanted violence, because he was tired of feeling helpless. Then one afternoon after practice, everything finally exploded. The storyteller went into the locker room bathroom alone. A few moments later, the bully followed him inside. And according to him, the second the door closed, he already knew what was about to happen. The bully immediately started throwing insults again, slurs, mocking comments, trying to get a reaction. Kunk 36. Then he shoved him, hard, and honestly, that was the moment months of anger finally snapped loose. The storyteller hit him instantly. No warning, no yelling, no dramatic speech, just one punch directly to the face. And according to him, the bully looked genuinely shocked, like he honestly never expected the quiet kid to fight back. Then the fight completely spiraled out of control. The bully swung wildly, but the storyteller already knew what adrenaline fights looked like. He stayed calm, moved better, hit harder, and within seconds, the bully was getting overwhelmed badly. At one point, he slipped near the sinks and smashed face first into the tiled floor. That impact apparently caused the worst damage of the entire fight. Blood everywhere, broken teeth, a badly shattered nose. By the time coaches finally pulled people apart, the bathroom looked like complete chaos. And according to the storyteller, the craziest part came afterward. Because suddenly, everybody acted shocked. The quiet kid fought back, even though tons of people had watched the bullying happen for months. Teachers suddenly started asking questions. Coaches acted concerned. Administrators launched investigations. But by then, the damage was already done. The bully ended up needing facial reconstruction surgery because of how badly his face got damaged during the fight. Meanwhile, the storyteller got suspended from basketball and nearly expelled. But according to him, something weird happened afterward. The bullying completely stopped. Not just from that guy, from basically everyone. And honestly, that probably says a lot about how cowardly most bullies actually are. Because the second there were consequences, suddenly nobody wanted problems anymore. And in the end, the storyteller said he didn't even feel proud about the fight. Mostly angry that it ever reached that point at all. Because if the adults around them had stopped the harassment earlier, none of it probably would have happened in the first place. Honestly, this story says a lot about what happens when bullying gets ignored for too long. Because eventually, people stop feeling like anyone is going to protect them. And when that happens, some people decide to protect themselves instead. But what do you think? Did the storyteller go too far? Or did the school completely fail him before things ever reached that point? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoy stories like this, make sure to subscribe, because there's plenty more coming.